let's unpack this. Today, we're diving into a deep dive based on a review of the film Aftersun. Our source gives us a really detailed look at a movie that, well, it captures a very specific time and feeling. We're talking a mid-1990s package holiday in Turkey, all seen through the eyes of a father and his young daughter.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, as this review really highlights, is how the film doesn't just show you that setting. It actively evokes those particular sights, sounds, even the textures, you know. Things like the feel-a-trackies, lukewarm beers, dodgy flumes, those beige and blue bedspreads, and yeah, the ever-present Macarena. It just instantly places you.
Right. It's not just background, it's the whole atmosphere. So our mission in this deep dive is to explore how this review, says the writer-director, Charlotte Wells, in her feature debut, manages to capture all of that so perfectly, and how she uses it as, like, a backdrop for something much deeper. We'll really get into the heart of the film, especially that relationship between the father, Calum Mescal plays him, and his daughter, Sophie, played by Frankie Corio. The review describes their dynamic. There's a sort of hesitancy there, a slight air of desperation, it says. Like both are really keen for the other one to have a good time.
Exactly. And the review points out how Wells's style, the way it alternates between sort of regular film footage and those grainy home movie bits.
Oh yeah, the home movie stuff.
That becomes crucial, apparently, in how it reveals the relationship and the characters.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's explore these layers from the review. Maybe start with that powerful sense of place and time you mentioned.
Sure. Well, the review argues pretty strongly that the film isn't just set in the 90s. It uses those details, the soundtrack, the clothes, even little things like the review mentions the word nipping. It uses all that to do more than just nostalgia. It feels like memory itself.
That makes sense. So the details aren't just like window dressing. They're fundamental to the emotional landscape. Okay. And within that landscape, we've got Calum and Sophie. How does the review describe their interaction?
Well, it notes that initial hesitancy you brought up. It suggests maybe they don't see each other all the time, which adds to that slight air of desperation. Like they're both really focused on making this holiday work for the other person. You get invested fast.
Right. And the review says that investment is absolutely critical because the film is so intimate.
Yeah, exactly. Often it's just the two of them. So it relies almost completely on their chemistry, the performances.
Yeah.
The review calls Mescal and Corio so utterly compelling that you basically immediately become emotionally invested. You really want it to go well for them.
You do, yeah. You want them to succeed. And the review gives some really interesting glimpses into Sophie's character, too. What's her perspective like?
Well, one key thing is how she often just watches things. Karaoke, other guests, just observing. And despite being young, the review describes her as more than aware of the complexities of adulthood. There's that really memorable quote the review pulls out where she tells her dad, "Stop promising to buy me stuff you can't afford."
Wow. Yeah, that hits hard. Shows a real maturity, doesn't it? Understanding his limits, even then. Speaking of Calum's limits, the review really delves into his fragile state of mind, right? How's that revealed?
It's subtle, very subtle. The review talks about getting these blink and you'll miss it glimpses, often through like intense close-ups on his face or moments where words seem right there on the brink of leaving his lips, but they just don't come out.
So it's not spelled out. It's more in his behavior, his expressions.
Exactly. The review mentions seeing him just staring off, you know, disassociating completely sometimes. Or those moments where he's utterly breaking down under the safety of his blanket, unseen by Sophie.
And there's that line, that really stark, devastating line the review highlights, where he tells someone, "I can't see myself at 40, to be honest. I'm surprised I made it to 30.
Yeah. It's incredibly powerful. And the review adds that bit about him seeming to feel unworthy of having birthday wishes sung to him. It just paints this picture of a guy trying so hard to be a good dad, maybe even enjoy himself, but he's carrying something heavy, something unseen.
The review really praises Paul Mescal for this, doesn't it? Calls his performance devastatingly honest, even notes his very good go at an East Coast Scottish accent, suggests it's a great way into the film, regardless of any social media buzz around him.
Definitely. His performance is central. And stepping back a bit, the review makes a really crucial point about memory. It argues the film isn't just nostalgia, it's about something more complex than just looking back.
Right, it's about how we perceive our memories when we try to recall them. So it's not showing the objective truth of the holiday, but Sophie's subjective memory of it.
Exactly. That's the idea. And how does the film do that? Well, the review suggests it shows us different versions of Calum. When he's alone, we see those glimpses of his real struggle. But when he's with Sophie, we mostly see the version he presents to her, the fun dad.
Ah, okay.
And the review says this is Wells cleverly alluding to the fact that Sophie perhaps didn't recognize symptoms of depression within her father back then. Her memory, the one the film shows, is filtered through what she understood as a kid.
Which brings us, I guess, to the ending. The review calls it much debated and ambiguous.
Yeah, that scene after Calum takes Sophie to the airport. The review describes how the camera stays with Calum in that corridor after she goes through security. He watches her go, then he leaves, the camera stops, and we're just left in this stark, empty, gray corridor. Harsh lighting.
And it's that abrupt shift, that starkness after all the warmth and intimacy. That's what leaves you with this difficult question, according to the review. Is Wells suggesting, well, that his struggles led to suicide? Or is it just the end of that specific intense time together, the moment the memory fades?
Exactly. Either way, the review calls it a distressing note. Those lazy summer days suddenly become just a mere memory. It's quite jarring.
But ultimately, despite the tough themes and the ambiguity, the review heaps praise on Charlotte Wells.
Oh, absolutely. Calls it a striking debut, praises the tremendous writing and direction, and says Mescal and choreo bring it to life so convincingly.
And it concludes that the film, exploring these complex parent-child dynamics, mental health struggles, it's bound to stay with you.
Which, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole deep dive into the review really shows how film can use tiny specific details of a time, a place, a relationship to explore these huge universal themes: memory, family complexities, mental health.
Yeah, it really highlights how powerful acting and sharp direction can weave it all together. Creates something that feels incredibly personal, like you're literally inside someone's memory. But it resonates much wider. You get invested, and it leaves you with these big questions. The review makes it clear it's more than nostalgia. It's about how memory works, how we understand the people close to us.
And that raises an interesting point, doesn't it? The review brings up that ambiguous ending, the debate it caused. Is it tragedy or just the end of a chapter? So for you, thinking about this review, where does a story's power lie? In clear answers. Or maybe in leaving that space for interpretation, especially with things as messy as memory and mental health. It's something to mull over.
Definitely something to think about.
And just as a practical note, the review mentions Aftersun is currently streaming on MUBI UK, if anyone wants to check it out after our discussion.